Hello, listeners. This is Lee Price.
This is Will Ford from Football 365.
And you're listening smartly to At the Bridge Pod, a Chelsea FC podcast, although I would describe it as the Chelsea FC podcast.
Magical from Eden Hazard. Kai Havertz in the Champions League final. Ivanovic! In the middle, it's just behind him. But it's tapped in by Hakim Ziyech. Matic with the ball driver. Matic takes the net off.
It's time for another episode of At the Bridge Pod, your number one Chelsea FC podcast. Coming up on this episode...
No one marking Palmer again. He's deflected in. Hat-trick hero. Cole Palmer wins an epic, sensational game.
Oh, welcome back, everyone, to another episode of At the Bridge Pod. I'm joined in the virtual room, filled with one lion. I think the other two are just exhausted from last night's absolute chaotic shittery that was 4-3. I've got Chris, though. Chris, it's Friday. It's a positive episode. What are you looking forward to that's just as positive this weekend? Is it a 2-2 draw with Sheffield United?
Oh, you can see that coming a mile off, can't you?
After a 2-0 lead.
Oh yeah, 100%. My girls' team's got a game in the morning. First game in I don't know how long, over 6 weeks, I think. So, and we're on a 3G now. So it's definitely going to be on, which is a bonus.
Good. That is good.
Yeah.
Can't lie.
So I'm looking forward to that.
Sweet. Well, I tell you what, mine, football-wise, I stick with football. There's the East Anglian derby between Norwich and Ipswich tomorrow lunchtime. That should be fun. Then on Sunday, it's the bigger, I'd say it's a little bit bigger. There's a small, little bit bigger derby going on in Scotland between Rangers and Celtic. I bloody love it when two rivals square off. Usually it ends in fireworks. Basically, that's my way of saying I like watching them because there's probably going to be a fight. It's kind of
it's not
a red card.
It's not for the football, is it?
Some people are probably thinking he loves a derby. I do, usually for that, because I could tell what's going to happen. It's just always funny. I mean, look at Chelsea and Spurs. Does that ever go by without someone squaring up? It never does.
Nah, that's true.
Oh man, it won't. Well, we're playing Spurs soon. Who knows? Who knows what happens there? Right, we'll hit the news. Oh, it's that usual time of the week. We're going to check out news you may have missed in the Elevator Chelsea news. Levi Colwill is hoping to return from a toe injury in time to face Manchester City in the FA Cup semi-final on April 20th. Kepa will return to Chelsea in the summer as Real Madrid have no intention of keeping him. Cole Palmer is expected to be rewarded for his incredible first season at Chelsea with an improved deal. Tuchel and Mourinho are not thought to be being considered by Chelsea as the next manager. Chelsea agreed a new contract with Alfie Gilchrist. Chelsea are planning to loan him to a championship club next season as part of his ongoing development. And finally, the Premier League are eyeing abolishing point deductions and introducing an NBA-style luxury tax over fears that the top stars will leave if rules restrict their pay. Anything particularly from the news before we move to the big game?
I mean, there's the Kepa situation. Not completely sure what we're going to do there, to be honest, because he's going to come back, and obviously, we're not going to want him to be part of the squad, but he's going to be difficult to move on because of the wages he's on, which is going to be a problem. So I don't know. I don't really know how that situation is going to resolve itself, and it's a concern of introducing another potentially unhappy player into what is developing into a tight-knit dressing room now. Yeah,
I've never seen a player's... If you look on Transfermarkt about their market value, you just watch it just literally goes off a fucking cliff from 60 million on December 10th, 2019 to 15 million.
Wow.
It's just, oh my word. Someone's going to buy him. Someone. I don't know how or who. And his contract's till next year. So, yeah, that was a long deal, wasn't it? We gave him. I mean,
yeah, I think that I think that's probably the only thing that works in our favour, though, the fact that his contract is running out. So that would mean that probably to secure his sort of long-term future somewhere, he might be willing to take a pay cut, because otherwise he could be left in the sort of David De Gea situation where he's a free agent and no one wants him.
Hey, maybe they could do a gap year together next year. Do a road trip. That could be a good TV show for Netflix. I'd watch that.
Yeah,
Kepa and David on the road. Oh man. All right. I want to touch on the Premier League luxury tax, because it does appear that the Premier League are sort of considering this shift away from the traditional punishments of points deductions for clubs if they're found guilty, obviously, of rule violations, such as obviously PSR, FFP. And they're instead exploring this implementation of a luxury tax system where basically the clubs that have done a naughty would face a fine. This kind of proposed change sort of raises a bit of concern for me about its effectiveness in just deterring rule-breaking behaviour. I mean, I know this is ironic because I'm a Chelsea fan, but look, as it essentially allows any club that's financially powerful enough just to buy their way out of the trouble. I mean, let's be honest. I mean, I argue that this not only fails to penalise the cheating teams, but it kind of incentivises them to continue just to flout the rules. If we're, the rules, whether we like it or not, it doesn't matter. The rules are there. What's an extra few £1 million in fines to the likes of City, United, Chelsea? It's not.
Well, nothing really.
Exactly.
The only thing that I think could be the saving grace of it was, and my problem with this is whether it would ever actually happen, but the line that said about the fine that they get would then be spread amongst the other clubs in the league who have stayed compliant. Now, that would be good, because obviously then those clubs are going to get like an increased revenue from somewhere they wouldn't have expected it to. But depends how big the fine is. If you're 200 million in the red, but your fine is only £1 million, then that's like a drop in the ocean to any Premier League club. Like that extra £1 million to everyone isn't going to make any difference. So I think that the only way it would work is if the fine was big enough to be an actual deterrent where it would affect these clubs long term.
I think for City and Newcastle, realistically, it wouldn't bother them at all.
No, it wouldn't.
It wouldn't, let's be honest. I mean, it might impact us a little bit, and maybe United as well. I mean, I kind of feel that it's like the fear that's driving it from the Premier League, that they're going to potentially lose out to this Super League at some point. I mean, if you look at what it could do, it could almost accelerate the Premier League decline rather than safeguard it long term, because look, a new system's adopted. Clubs, like I've said, with the vast financial resources, will exploit it. Of course they will. And that's Man City. They'll keep spending, and what's going to happen? I'm just going to get a fine. Okay, I'll pay it. I've said it before, for a competitive balance within the league, I would like a Premier League which adapts the NFL, where that system where each year it's a salary cap, essentially. I mean, spend what you want within reason, yes, but the salary cap, where almost like the MLS, that's why I enjoy the NFL, because it's competitive. Yeah. There's going to be a few strong teams, as people are going to point out, Kansas City Chiefs, and all that. And the Patriots have been in the previous, decade, but it's still competitive, and you still don't know who's going to win at the end of the season. With the Premier League, if I say to you, can you name who's going to win the title next year? You're going to say Manchester City are going to be probably one of the two teams, aren't you?
Yeah, and
exactly.
I think that is one of the problems. I think they talk about the Premier League being the best in the world, and it is in terms of quality wise.
Yes, and the amount of players and the quality of the players. Yeah,
yeah, but competitiveness, it's not. Like, I know they always harp on about, the team at the bottom can beat the team at the top, but that happens in every league. Like literally every league in the world, the team at the bottom can beat the team at the top. Like, if you look at, I always use Serie A as an example. Now, it gets a lot of criticism, Serie A, but it's one of the most competitive leagues in the world. Napoli last season walked Serie A. won it at an absolute canter. Got I can't remember whether it was over 90 points or it was high 80s. Their points tally was ridiculous to win the league, and this season they're like 8th. So you know what I mean, it's you never you don't have the same teams there winning the title. Like I think in the last 4 years they've had 4 different league winners. So that's a competitive league. You know, the Premier League isn't competitive. It's competitive if you're Man City.
Yeah, they're going to win potentially their 4th in a row.
Yeah, outside of that, it's not overly competitive and it's not that much of a spectacle, especially if you support a club like Crystal Palace. You're never going to win the league. Yeah. So what's the incentive? That's why these clubs just don't spend the money. They just spend enough to just stay up. Yeah. And that's it.
I mean, you're not wrong. I mean, I'm sure someone will go, but if Chelsea will win it back to back, you wouldn't say it. I would, because that'd also be boring. I'd just be like, we're going to win it again.
I've always thought that about like Celtic fans.
Yeah, exactly. Same.
How do you get up for the season? Because you've won the league before it's even kicked off. Like,
the
what's
expectation is to win everything. Yeah. That's not you hope to win everything. You're expected, and that's like it's like PSG, isn't it? It's like, oh, we've done it. Yeah.
I don't know.
Well, listeners, let us know what you think. NBA luxury tax or something else? Who knows? Let us know. But hey, we've got a midweek match report. And it is sponsored by
Goal. Fuck off. I don't want to do this anymore. I don't want to fucking do this anymore.
But we do. Oh, Chelsea 4, Manchester United 3. I don't know I don't know. It was an instant Premier League classic for me. And on the suggestion of you, Chris, for 1 week, we're doing this one bloody week only. We're going to start with the losers and end with the positives. Of course, I found losers. Though, I must admit, on minute 97, my losers list looked very different. On minute 99, it was already thrown out the fucking window. The whole list, it was like, I can't really go what I was going to say. I've got 3. Did you get more than 3? Your usual 7?
I have got more than 3. I've got 4, so I didn't go crazy.
Oh,
I have got more than 3. But there's only 2 of us, so
yeah, that's true. You can, I guess. Yeah, we'll make up for Ollie and Berth. You know what? I'll quickly run my first loser off, and it's Alejandro Garnacho, and he made this list for me because it might be the first time in history a player who was awarded man of the match had it taken away from him in the final 2 minutes of a game, like being handed the keys to a brand new car just to see it get crushed by an 18-wheeler. I've never known ever a man of the match award literally just go, nope, yoink, going to someone else. It's just incredible. I'm glad they don't engrave them.
That summed up their whole night. They bottled the game and the man of the match.
It's just, I don't think I've never seen it. I'd love to know if it's possible. Anyway, I don't know. Right, who's an actual genuine loser for you?
Petrovic.
Oh, okay.
Mainly because, like, we're going to get on to talk about Caicedo, obviously, but the individual errors are costing us now. And I think it was a few months ago when Petrovic first come into the team and he played well. But we was all saying you have to give him time and you have to judge him over time to see how good he actually is. And because goalkeepers are one of them positions where you have to stay consistent over a period of time before people can start really judging you, I think. He's made a terrible mistake against Burnley that cost us, and he made another really bad mistake here that really should have cost us the game, shouldn't it? Like, apart from the remarkable turnaround, that would have been the talking point. That there was mistakes before it, and I'll come on to Badia Shield, don't worry about that. But I don't know what he's doing. I don't think he should come for the ball anyway. But if you're going to come for it, then throw everything at it. But he come and then stopped and just allowed Garnacho to head it past him. And it was a mistake. And what concerns me is it's 2 mistakes in a row. So it's a worry because we've seen this with goalkeepers before who, Robert Sanchez, to be fair to him, started okay and then made a mistake and then just kept making them. And it's a worry. I think Sheffield United's a big game now for Petrovic. I think he has to go through that 90 minutes without making a mistake.
It could just be coaching. I mean, he is a young keeper. He's not got the experience. I mean, obviously, I love the MLS, but the MLS is, again, a different level of quality compared to what you face in the Premier League. You're not facing consistent world-class stars every single week, with respect. And maybe it's just a bit of coaching. But yeah, I mean, it was some those sort of mistakes that just make you go, really? Come on. I mean, we've been absolutely blessed with world-class, top-class goalkeepers. And I mean, like him or not, Courtois, very, very good. Petr Cech, say no more. Cudicini, we were always very fortunate with keepers. And right now we've had the swings, haven't we? We've had Kepa, Sanchez, and we're not what we were. It is what it is.
Yeah, because my biggest love for Petrovic was he seemed like a very solid goalkeeper. He wasn't like your David De Gea making loads of camera saves, that sort of keeper. But he wasn't making mistakes. He was just very solid. He did the basics very well. And he just sort of got through the game and with no fanfare and just moved on. But now he's not making the world-class saves that he shouldn't make, but he's also making some basic mistakes. I'm hoping that it's just 2 things that have happened and it just happens to have happened in a row. But like I said, Sheffield United is massive. If he gets through Sheffield United, doing the basics well, not making any mistakes, fair enough. Sweep it under the rug and move on. But I just think he has to step up. Sheffield United is massive. Otherwise, I think if he makes another mistake, I can see Sanchez coming back in, and no one wants that.
Yeah, that's pretty fair. Right. This is technically I've got. Hang on. This would be technically I've got 5 losers because the next one is a terrible trio. That's literally what I called it, and it's one of my sayings that listeners will know so much that if they ever make a talking doll of me, this will be on my voice box. Look, what do I say? You should never tolerate anything in a win that you wouldn't in a loss. And Caicedo, Badiashile, and Cucurella had a disaster with their errors. Their errors led to goals, 2 stupid goals in a game that we were dominating. We were, I would still say, in full control. That opening 20 was what I believe the whole ownership and Poch want us to be. And yes, I'm going to be honest, Caicedo has been required to do a lot this season, and he has been quietly doing a good job. And I stand by that. He has been. I just kind of feel that it doesn't help as well that Poch seems to have no idea how to set up the midfield, because you've got, oh, bloody hell. Enzo, Gallagher, Caicedo. I don't think he knows what's the best positions for all 3, really. And it's sort of having an impact on all of them and how they play game to game. I think that's why we keep seeing so much inconsistency with that midfield. I don't know what you feel, though.
Well, it ties in really to one of my losers. One of my losers is the midfield again, in general. And that's all 3 of them. The only thing I would say about Gallagher, and the reason why he's a little bit more exempt from this, but not completely, is he's in the team to play higher and press and win the ball back high up the pitch. And what I'm about to criticise him for isn't really his job, but he is still playing in that midfield, so he does still have some accountability. The Caicedo Enzo thing is an experiment that just hasn't worked. They don't complement each other at all. They don't even seem to want to play together, because it's so rare that I actually see them pass the ball to each other. They don't cover each other. They don't pass to each other. So what are we doing then? What's the point? Because yes, Caicedo made a horrendous error in this game, an absolutely unforgivable error at this level, by the way.
I could have cried. I knew what was going to come after as well.
Well,
Heads down.
as soon as Garnacho scored, my dad messaged me saying, "What is he doing there?" And I said, "This will be 2-2 before half time."
Yeah, I felt the same.
Because we've seen it against Leicester.
Yeah,
Absolutely cruising, 2-0 up. Disasi puts one in his own net, and all of a sudden we fell apart.
Yeah.
And Caicedo, I have got to say, just while we're talking about the Caicedo mistake, there is something else that really pissed me off about it. Disasi going to give him a cuddle after really wound me up. I'm all for supporting your teammate, but this is what I mean about you are lacking winners in this team at the minute, because I'm telling you right now, you put Caicedo in a team with Ashley Cole, Drogba, Lampard, John Terry, and he makes that mistake, they are not giving him a cuddle. I'm telling you that for free, because that was a game that we was 2-0 up in, absolutely cruising and in full control of, and he completely swung the game. Man United was doing nothing. So he completely swung the game. And I'm telling you right now, there is no way any of those players are going to give him a cuddle after. They are telling him that is not acceptable. It's not good enough. But we seem to have this acceptance in the squad at the minute that, we're going to make mistakes, aren't we? Because we're young. I don't understand this young thing as well. You can use that excuse for certain things, a lack of experience. Not a shit pass like that, though. That's got nothing to do with the fact that he's young. That's just a terrible decision he's made. And just back onto the midfield in general, there was a reason why we are where we are and Man United are where they are. You watched that game last night, and it shows why both of us are not getting in the top four, because we look like two teams who don't know what we're doing.
That's fair.
And both us and Man United have absolutely dreadful midfields who offer no protection to the back line either, because theirs was just as bad, by the way. Casemiro was absolutely horrendous in this game. Their midfield was as bad as ours, but that's why we're not in the top four, because we haven't got midfields who can dictate the tempo of matches. They don't speed it up when they have to. They don't slow it down when you're winning. They don't control a match. They don't protect the back four. They are terrible on transition. Our midfields are carbon copies of each other. And I actually feel sorry for our back line, because every single time the ball gets turned over, they are having players run at them with nothing in front. And it's really hard as a defender there to defend properly. We're conceding goals. If you take out the individual mistakes, we are conceding goals because of our midfield, not because of our defence.
I mean, the Caicedo thing, you know what? I've just actually pulled it up again. I wanted to just double check that I didn't misinterpret it. When Caicedo goes up, obviously challenges Anthony, gets the ball, he doesn't even look to his left.
No.
He doesn't look at all to see what's there. And he would have seen, now you could go, Badiashile didn't help himself. Fair enough. But he would see two United players and Badiashile. But Petrovic is available. Just pass the ball back, and Petrovic will probably just boot it long, if he's under pressure. I think that's the problem. Caicedo doesn't look at any point around him to see what his surroundings are, who's near him, what. So he's just sort of done a no-look pass into danger, and that's the problem. And again, we've seen it before, the Disasi error. It's 10 years ago, we'd have gone, made a mistake, we fucked up there. We're fine. And we'd carry on. All of us, even as fans, we'd go, we'll be all right now. The lads, they know what they're doing now. But this team, they make one mistake and they just fall apart like a pack of cards in a wind. We've screwed. We lost this now. We're going to concede again. You almost self-prophesize it.
And do you know what it comes from, though? If you notice, after that mistake, the first thing we do off the kickoff is flood people forward to attack again, like we had to score again. That wasn't an equaliser. That was 2-1. The only thought in your mind now as a footballer should be, we get through to half-time winning. That's it. We're 2-1 up. We get to half time now, still in the lead. They are going to gain some momentum from scoring a goal, obviously.
Of course.
So for the next 10, 15 minutes, we absolutely kill the game. Keep the ball, keep possession, win free kicks, win throw-ins, take your time, slow the game down. If you do that, you absolutely kill that momentum, and that mistake doesn't become as big as it did. But every individual mistake we're making at the minute is exacerbated by what we do after it. And what we do after it is chaotic. We don't do it with any control. It's all like, oh God, well, what do we do now? They've scored. Oh, well, we'll have to go score again. Why? We're still winning. Calm down.
100%.
And that's where we really miss Thiago Silva.
Yeah.
I don't think it happens with Thiago Silva. He gets the ball off the kickoff and he slows it right down. He takes 3 and 4 touches. He draws them in. He plays it back to the goalkeeper. He has it back again. Takes another 3 or 4 touches. Then probably plays that long 60-yard diagonal that he likes. Probably gets headed out for a throw-in. All of a sudden, you're 2-3 minutes in. Nothing's happened after the goal. And the momentum is starting to wane straight away. Like you just said about Badiashile as well. He doesn't help Caicedo in that situation. It's Caicedo's mistake. But I'm telling you now, you put Thiago Silva where Badiashile is, he is screaming at Caicedo, keeper.
Yeah.
He's not letting he's not letting Caicedo make a decision. He is screaming at him, keeper. You play that back to the keeper. He's taken a decision out of his hands, but Badiashile doesn't. He allows Caicedo to make his own decision, and that's what you get.
Yeah. Which, you know what, I'll lead on to this. This is going to be the most convoluted loser because you're going to listeners are going to listen back and go, Harry was a loser again? I don't know. But anyway, Pochettino, and I've put him here because yes, we won. Yes, we will come on to the positives of that soon. His subs for me were mixed. I mean, yes, I'm going to touch on it. 2 defenders when we were losing did annoy me. It really annoyed me. And
wound me up as well.
The Gilchrist sub felt particularly odd because Gusto had been productive, as he always is going forward, the entire game.
All I would say
about
that one is I think that was a planned substitution because of Gusto being touch and go whether he was going to play or not.
That is fair, very fair, you know what. And social media were mixed on the Gusto performance. You know, I didn't think he was bad, but the one sub that did sort of swing momentum was my man, Madueke. I mean, he really, he won the penalty. Doesn't matter whether it was or not, he won it. And he was going forward, as we all know. And look, Pochettino's assessment is that Chelsea needed a game like this to foster that connection with the supporters. And it holds some ground. I do agree. It was a very beers in the air moment. And it kind of did feel like a pivotal moment where the team began to sort of sync up. But do remember, listeners, I kick you off this hype train to Fun World. The result was equally influenced by a series of very, very close calls and 2 minutes where 2 goals came from a contentious penalty and an unfortunate deflected goal. I know that's really negative, but I just want to, be sensible. We could easily be sat here 3-2 loss calling for the end of the tenure of Pochettino, couldn't we? It really could have been different.
Yeah, because to be fair, that 2 minutes doesn't change the 70 that preceded it.
Oh, exactly. 100%.
I didn't like the fact that there was some people on Twitter doing it straight away. I put on my Twitter that the night's just for enjoying the win. You analyse the game in the days after. Like a win like that, just enjoy it for God's sake. We won the game. Just sit back and enjoy it. You can worry about the performance, today, tomorrow. It doesn't matter. Those wins you just have to enjoy because let's face it, you win any game late, it's rare that you've actually deserved to win it. It's one of them normally. It's where a game could go either way and you win it late on, and they are the best ways to win. So I don't understand some fans who don't seem to want to enjoy anything, but yeah.
Yeah.
You are right though with Pochettino. It's sort of a get out of jail free.
That's why he's really a loser because it's just the whole. It could have been so different, and that's the point. It could have been. I know it wasn't, but
and I agree. Tactically, there was some things in there about how we don't control games. That is also a tactical side. The stuff I said about the midfield is, there is a tactical element to it as well in terms of what they're being asked to do.
Yeah.
But I tell you what, we are better to watch now.
Yes.
I would say that
100%.
this is probably the most entertaining Chelsea team since Antonio Conte's. So, or maybe early Frank Lampard.
Yeah, that was actually a good point. Everyone forgets that, don't they? That was actually not too bad.
The first 6 months under Lampard, but this is definitely the best we've been since then. To watch, and we always look like we're going to score.
I sort of remember back to the Wolves 2 Chelsea 5 game where Tammy got a hat trick and Tomori scored a worldie. It was quite a fun game. It really. I mean, who are your losers? If I haven't already touched on them, that are left.
Well, I've got Badia Shield,
which is fair.
I don't really think any. I mean, I've sort of tied him in with the midfield really, but he is also at fault for the third goal. Terrible first touch to lose it there, which put us on a counter attack that we couldn't get back in time to defend. Don't know what's happened to him. Form's absolutely fell off a cliff since he come back. I don't know. I don't really know why he's still in the team, if I'm honest. I don't understand what he's doing that makes Poch think, he's good, because at the minute he's just not.
As you said about Sterling, who else plays there? I know you got Thiago Silva, but we can see that something's happened there.
Yeah, something has definitely happened there. Because even again yesterday, you're taking Disasi off, you're bringing Chalobah on rather than Silva in a game that you're struggling to get control of.
Chalobah's meant to be leaving, so
yeah, very odd, very odd. He's obviously fell out with Silva. Yeah, I think that's evident for everyone to say.
Yeah.
My last loser is going to shock you.
Oh, okay. I'm trying to. Okay.
And I'm also. I just want to say this now. I'm also going to contradict myself when we do winners.
Oh no.
Okay, because I've got the same. I've got the same player down as a loser and a winner.
Okay.
Cole Palmer.
Okay. I could maybe have an idea where you could go with this. Go on.
Brilliant player. Our best player by a country mile. However, yesterday, from 3-2 to the penalty, I thought he was dreadful. Every single attack broke down because he either tried to have a shot with a defender right in front of him, or he keeps trying this nutmeg pass that he just kept giving the ball away. We didn't sustain any pressure because Palmer kept giving the ball away really cheaply by trying to do fancy shit when we just needed to sustain some pressure. There was another couple of incidents in the game as well where he's got to get this selfish streak out of him, in my opinion. If he wants to continue to develop as a player and become the player that he obviously can be, you can't have this sort of selfish streak that he's got.
I think that was more because of the fact, you know what, because there's going to be listeners going, there's no way that can be left unchecked as a loser. I think it's because, he looks around and goes, I'm just going to take this on. I can't trust any of you lot. Bloody hell, come on.
But that makes him a terrible teammate then. Because it's not.
I can't argue that, can I?
It's not his job to judge whether Jackson's going to do something with it or whether Mudrik's going to do something with it. His job is to make the right decision. And there was a counter attack. I think this was at 2-2. I think this was before the third goal. There was a counter attack where we was 4-on-3, and he should have played the ball out to the left, and he tried to chop back up to the right hand side, and he won a free kick. And I thought, great, you've won a free kick, but there's literally two people on that left hand side, completely unmarked. And he looked at them and thought, no, I don't want to do that. I'll chop back onto here and then I'll go through and have a shot myself. And I thought, that's terrible. That's really, really selfish play. And even the one in the first half where, it was the first half where he absolutely rinsed Dallo with the drop of the shoulder.
Oh, yeah.
How Dallo didn't get booked when he fouled him is an absolute joke, by the way. But again, he wins the free kick because he ignores the passes that are on. He had 3 passes on there, and again, chopped back to take it himself. He won a free kick, but again, he made the wrong decision. And for everything good that he's doing, this little bit of, I don't know whether it's over arrogance that he's got now, that everything goes through me, so I'll just do it all myself, is actually making him worse, I would say, than better.
I think it's just because he just knows that he's the only one that seems to be able to deliver outside. Like Gusto can deliver, we know that, but I kind of feel that
I do also want to just touch on Palmer. Like, I do think if you, and the reason why I had him down, I thought it was okay to have him down as a loser in this game, is because if you put Jorginho in our team, if we'd never sold Jorginho and he's still playing, who takes penalties?
Oh, it would annoy me if it was. I mean, Jorginho was like our top scorer with 7 goals, and they were all penalties one year.
But it would still be Jorginho, wouldn't it?
Yeah, probably.
Let's be honest, Jorginho would still be taking the penalties. So last night, Jorginho would have scored twice, and Palmer would have scored that deflected goal, which would have been the winner. And that's fantastic.
Possibly. Yeah.
But let's say you take the penalties off him yesterday and give them to Jorginho, and Jorginho has scored them. So we still win the game. I don't think people are talking about Palmer's performance as much as they are because of a hat-trick.
Okay.
But that's a good thing as well. And I haven't got a problem with it. You know, and the listeners should know as well, that I've been advocating an attacker to take penalties.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
completely, it completely changes their season. Like, you look at him now, he's got 16 Premier League goals, Cole Palmer. 16. Yeah. He's second top scorer in the league.
I know, it's wild.
But if we still had Jorginho taking penalties, I think he'd have, probably, I don't even know how many he'd have, 10? He's took at least 6 penalties, hasn't he? Surely.
He's taken a lot and scored them all, yeah.
Yeah. So all of a sudden, people are going, yeah, it's okay. But his confidence also isn't as high. Attackers should take penalties, is what I'm getting at.
Cole Palmer scored 16 goals in the Premier League, 8 have been penalties.
That's what I mean. He would only have 8 goals.
Yeah.
So do you think anyone's talking about him as much without the penalties? Probably not. Same with Mo Salah's been doing it for years as well with penalties. Getting his, and it's the confidence thing. You can have a bad game and still score if you're the penalty taker, which is crucial for forwards. And I'm so glad. I'm so glad that now we actually have given the responsibility to an attacker.
Winners! Oh, you did it, listeners. It's positive time now. Get on that train. Get back on it. I got 3. I'm not going to go with the obvious one. I'm not going with the obvious one first. I am going to go for a little bit off tilt here. Jimmy Bullard, because that great man himself would say football is always the winner. And that game was exactly that. And I'm still processing that entire 100 minutes of just chaos. One minute I was euphoric. Next I'm nervous, gutted, hopeless, disappointed, depressed. And that was just the first half.
Yeah, it's so true.
I mean,
we've been involved in the 2 best games of the season, I think.
3. I'd include Spurs.
Yeah, I was about to say, maybe 3. Like, that's mad, isn't it?
Yeah, like, the best 3 games get in.
The 3 best games this season have involved us. 4-4 with Man City, 4-1 at Tottenham, 4-3 here. Yeah. Those are the 3 best games in the league this season.
I mean,
we are good to watch now.
I mean, to equalise in the final moments was not something I celebrated, if I'm honest, because it was still 2 points lost at the time. But I was at least shrugging. I was shrugging. Don't get me wrong. I wasn't like, we drew. But to win it in the final moment, that was none of that chess match 8 centre backs bullshit. Some people might enjoy Man City 0, Arsenal 0. Personally, for me, I'd rather watch chaos, NBA style chaos, than that. I mean, you said it yourself. We are bloody entertaining to watch.
Yeah, we are. We are so much better to watch now, and that's mainly because we can't defend for shit either. But all the most entertaining teams are the ones who can't defend but can attack, and that is us now.
Oh yeah, we've
Like you're
turned
pretty
that
much
on.
guaranteed goals in our games.
Yeah,
So
that's the thing. And I mean, like you said, 4-4, 4-1, 4-3, a lot of fours. It's absolutely, it's great content. It really is. It really is. I mean, who's a winner for you?
well, I'll start with one that isn't a player. I've got two players, two non-players.
Yeah, I've got two more players.
The mentality,
Mm.
which again could have been on the losers as well. That's what I mean. It was that sort of game. It was
Yeah.
that sort of game, wasn't it? Where
Yeah,
our
yeah,
mentality after the Caicedo mistake was absolutely shite, like awful.
Yes, 100%.
But this team are showing something. I think that maybe they're not getting the credit for that they deserve to win or get points late on. Does show that they do have a belief, they do have a togetherness, they do have a strong mentality. This game specifically, Cole Palmer scores that penalty. There is to equalise with what everyone assumes is going to be the last action of the game.
Man United even put it on Instagram, didn't they? Full time.
Yeah, exactly. Right. So everyone thought that's going to be the last action of the game. There was no massive over celebration.
No.
He put it in, he ran in, he grabbed the ball, and everyone ran back to the halfway line.
Yeah.
And I think he said after, which I think Poch deserves some credit for this, that when they scored that, Poch said 2 minutes to win it. And that's a great mentality from him as well, to not accept that, well, let's take the point now, but to actually instill in these players that, no, you've still got 2 minutes, you've just scored, go and win. And we did. And, we showed it earlier in the 4-4 against Man City as well, to go and get an equaliser after the disappointment of conceding what looked like the winner in that game late on, to then go up the other end and get an equaliser, to keep plugging away at Tottenham when, it was a lose-lose really, that game with the whole 9-men situation, but to plug away and eventually get the goals in that game relatively late as well. Crystal Palace away again, another late winner. There is something there. I just think the summer's going to be massive in terms of, I actually think, although I'm still not sure on Poch as a coach, I do think he is building something here. And if the owners just get their head out of their arse for 5 minutes and think, do you know what? Let's give him 2, maybe 3 experienced, established players. I actually think you see a completely different team next year that could be so good. But it's all going to come down to, in the summer, what do we do? Do we still go for young and we'll just be in this cycle forever until these players get mature, which will be like 5 years down the line, and Poch definitely won't be here? Or do you give him the tools to do something now? And I think if you give him the tools to do something now, 2 or 3 experienced, established players who are ready to win things from next season, I actually do think the foundations are there for us to actually be a really good team.
Yeah, I fully agree actually with that. I think the summer is what you just said. It's absolutely huge. I mean, look at January. We rumours that it was John Duran from Villa. Now he's a fine player. He's okay. He's okay. Someone's going to go really far. Okay, he's okay. He's fine. But he's not going to elevate the team. He's
No.
I know the argument could have been Cole Palmer. You never expected that. No, we didn't bloody expect that. Whoa, I didn't expect that. Certainly not. When I was on that flight from Dublin back home, I didn't expect Cole Palmer to join and be the next coming of Hazard. But
you do get shocks like that, of course.
Yeah,
you do.
it happens.
But at the same time, this reminds me very much of. Do you remember Mourinho's first season of his second spell, when we had Torres and Demba Ba as the strikers?
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
he
yeah, yeah.
basically said during that season, I can't win the league because I've got these two who aren't good enough. And he asked in that summer to have two catalyst signings. He wanted Fabregas and Costa. And
Mm,
he said to the board, give me Fabregas and Costa, I'll win the league. And
yeah.
I remember that during that season though of Mourinho's first spell, there was a lot of talk again about this squad isn't good enough. Even with Mourinho, they can't win anything. You know, half of these players aren't Chelsea quality. He signed two players, had the same squad, and won the league.
He did. I've just pulled the quote up, and it said, Cesc was just told 5 on YouTube channel that it was the first day I met Mourinho. He said, "I need two players. Diego, he's basically signed, and you come, we'll win the title." And he was right, wasn't he?
And that's what I mean. You know, I think Jamie Carragher said it a couple of years ago on one of the Super Sundays. Most top teams are never as far away from success as they look. It just takes one or two of the right players to come in and elevate everyone. And I think that's where we're at now. I don't think this squad is anywhere near as far away as it looks, but they're missing the Fabregas and Costa. I think
Yeah.
you give us that, this squad is comfortably top 4.
Oh, okay. Well, I couldn't disagree. I mean, we all know that we create, we just can't score. On scoring, yes, he is a winner, and of course he's on Chris as well. Cole Palmer, because 9 shots were attempted, 8 key passes were delivered. He carried this team on his back. He was showcasing his brilliance despite facing, we see it, regular incompetence from his teammates. Whether we like Sherwood's comments to him or not, he had some sort of a point there. Yes, I know people are going to still say goals include 2 penalties and a deflected shot, but it's the fact Palmer impacts this side beyond the score sheet, in my opinion. You know, he's got the ability to bring his teammates into play, release those pinpoint crosses, pinpoint passes. He can outmaneuver opponents. He's got the quick thinking. He's got the footwork. He is just 21 and in his first senior football season. I mean, he's not only a remarkable talent, he's not only an invaluable asset, but this guy, his ceiling is astronomical, and he could become, for club and country, one of the greats. I'm really stating that because he has really hit the ground running this season, like beyond any. I mean, I can't think of another player this young, an English young player like this that's a forward, not Bellingham. I'm not going to pick him, but a forward maybe since Michael Owen, Rooney. I mean, he's just. I'm really scared I've said that because someone's going to point out so many names now. But off the top of my head, I can't think. He's just so invaluable to us.
I think actually this is equal to the debut season we've seen of Hazard.
Yes. I mean,
Eden Hazard
they
came
create
in
out of nothing, don't they?
Yeah, and Hazard came in that first season and instantly looked like he'd been here for 10 years. There was no adaptation to the Premier League. There was no adaptation to being, the pressure of being the guy in the team. Just come in, took it on, and never looked back, really. And Palmer could be the same because Palmer's got a very similar attitude to Hazard, where football looks easy for him. Never looks flustered, never looks bothered, like in a good way. Hazard was always so relaxed on the pitch that, 1-1, 90th minute, he'd get the ball on the halfway line and think, oh, I'll just go and win us the game now. Like, never concerned about the score or making a mistake. And Palmer has that. Like, he stepped up in the 98th minute and he rolled that penalty in like it was nothing. Same earlier in the season with that one against Man City for the draw. He's put it in the top corner, for Christ's sake. You know what I mean? He has that attitude that Hazard had, and I think if the only thing that will stop him reaching Hazard's heights is the rest of the team. Because if we don't give him a squad good enough to go and win stuff, you're never really considered. You're never going to be considered one of the best if you're finishing 10th. That's the truth. No matter how good you are, you have to win stuff to be in those conversations. But I think if you give Palmer better players around him and we can get it right, if we win something, if we was in the next 5 years, let's say he stays at least for the next 5 years, if we're to win a league in the next 5 years, I guarantee Cole Palmer will get Player of the Year that year.
Yeah, I mean, he deserves to be. To me, this is not even biased. I'm not being biased. He should be in the top 2 for Young Player of the Season.
I think he's hands down Young Player of the Year.
I'm only saying should be in the top 2 because I know that they're going to go.
People are going to talk about Phil Foden, yeah,
and it's going to be like if City win the title, even if they didn't, someone's going to go Phil Foden. They're going to say it.
Yeah, but I mean, to be fair though, Phil Foden is in a much better team,
a world-class team surrounded by world-class players with a world-class manager, where the pressure isn't really on him to win them games. No, exactly. Good shout.
And also, he disappears for large parts of the season. Phil Foden will have a great, like against Villa, scored a hat-trick. Against the 2 games before that, absolute shite. Did nothing. Against Arsenal, he was an absolute ghost. He did nothing. So it's, I think Foden's another one. Foden's a very PR-driven player again. Really good, Phil Foden, insanely talented. But he wouldn't do for us what Cole Palmer is.
I agree. I 100% agree with that. I know Cole Palmer carries this team. I think switch the players around. Foden would do good. Of course he would. He wouldn't carry the team.
No, he wouldn't.
It's incredible. Like what I cannot say and emphasize how ridiculously outstanding Cole Palmer's debut campaign is for us. It's just ridiculous, And I could imagine him against this weekend. He could carry the team again. He could. He is just. I predicted that maybe I didn't, but I said that he could be to City what De Bruyne is to us. Fucking hell. Ooh, it's looking like it. It's looking like it. It really is. Right, my final winner. It's Enzo. And this also answers a question that Simply DB18 sent in asking for comments on the Mount versus Enzo scuffle. Matt Law's not enjoying that, is he? I've just seen there's a little bit of a context been added to his tweet now, so that's interesting.
Oh yeah, I've seen that too. Yeah, that's funny.
Enzo, look, he has his flaws, but damn, he shows passion and he shows love for the badge, I've got to say. And he did square up to Mason Mount, which was instigated prior by Mount. I mean, look, the roar that it got from the home fans, we all know why. And then at full time, he's tapping the Chelsea badge in front of him. I mean, that's shit out.
I loved that. I loved the one at full time.
There is ESPN have said what they believe was said from Enzo to Mount. We won't repeat it. We won't repeat it. We don't want to be censored. So have a look, listeners. Yeah. It's strong. I've got to love that shit out. I mean, his performance was okay. He was picking the ball off, our centre backs, trying to get it forward. His distribution was very good. But I also noticed as well, I did write this bit down. The commentary team didn't mention when he did that outside of the boot pass to create the opportunity for the first goal. Come on, com team, you got to do that. But it was one of them where it's like, you know what, he gets it. He does get it. Fair play.
Yeah,
give him credit.
Yeah, fair play. I loved the one at full time. I didn't like the one in the match because he was on a booking, and if you watch it, he does throw his head in as well. And
I didn't notice that.
I just think it's very stupid, and I'm really surprised VAR didn't look at it, to be honest. And because normally, especially in the Premier League, with how soft it is now, normally 2 players push each other, they both get booked. And I thought he could be in trouble here, even if they don't look at their throwing his head in. If they look at the if he goes with the whole, I'll just book them both, he'll be off. So I do think that was a little bit silly. But the one at full time is fucking hilarious.
I mean, I've got to add as well. You saying about that with bookings, Nicholas Jackson. Do you know when he was last booked in all games, all competitions?
I feel like it's been a while with him actually.
12th of Feb against Palace. Now, it's because you going, oh, he really early on, he was always getting booked for dissent. Yeah. Has he matured? He's still doing it. It's just the refs are literally just going, oh, we've got to overcorrect here. At the start of the season, we were booking everyone. We can't keep doing that.
Yeah.
There'll be no players left. That's probably why Enzo got away with that last night. It's like, we could book it. No, we can't do that. Let it go. Let it go. Who's your final winners then?
I've got Madueke.
Yes, loving it.
I was really critical of him when he came on as a sub against Burnley. Came on as a sub here, did really well. Winning the penalty is exactly what I want to see from a winger. He got the ball one-on-one and thought, fuck it, I'll just go past him. And made something out of nothing. Deserves huge credit for that. Fair play to him. My last one is records. First time we've beat Man United in like 7 years.
I know, that's ridiculous.
Which is absolutely stupid considering the absolute god-awful teams they've had in that time. Also, like, I can't remember the exact stat now. It's like one defeat in 90 minutes since in loads of games. I think you might have said since October, but I thought that can't be wrong. Haven't lost at home for ages. Again, like I said earlier, I just think the foundations are there. This team just needs help from the board now. They need to drop the stupid under 25 policy and just give them the tools that they need. And I think we're not far away. Yeah.
I'm going to jump on that. The last bit in the Premier League, not the FA Cup, the Premier League, we beat them the bonfire night in 2017, 1-0. Can you even tell me who scored the goal?
Alvaro Morata.
Was at Stamford Bridge? It was Morata.
Yeah, the Azpilicueta Morata connection.
Just
it was a great header. I remember.
Hey, if that's a rare showpiece, Phil Jones started that game for United.
Jesus Christ. Remember him.
Put that on a mantelpiece. Yeah, it was just absolutely wild. That was, and Bakayoko started for us. So, well, there we go. Where are them two now? We don't know. But yeah, I mean, I remember watching one of the games with Berth as well, where Rashford scored a free kick against us, and my head just went down. Like, I mean, it was. I saw it on Twitter, and it was two bold men fighting over a comb last night. That's what it kind of felt like. Chelsea and United.
That one with Rashford's free kick, that was the same one where Harry Maguire should have been sent off for kicking Batshuayi in the bollocks.
100% yes, he kicked him. He kicked. I still get pissed off by that.
Shocking.
Because I don't know how they got away with that.
That's why it was so funny after this game to see Man United fans calling it a robbery and referees are always against United. Yeah, okay, let's just forget the 20 years under Ferguson then, shall we?
Yeah, it's like, it's not nice when the shoe is on the other foot, is it? Right, emojis, no shrugs from me. It's just the mind blown. I'm still processing it. I still don't get how, because I'm sure some of us, let's be honest, we looked at the minute and it said 90 and we thought, should we turn this off and go to bed? Get an early one? Yeah. We probably thought it. I thought it. I can't lie. I do this show, but I did think, should I go to bed? Oh, yeah, no, I'll stick it out. I'm so glad. Yeah, we always stick it out, but you do. It's always there. It's always there. What about you?
I'm going to go with the sort of sleeping emoji, but not because it bored me, but because it tired me out. I felt like I'd played. Like it was an absolute emotional roller coaster. And it was one of those games where you're as tired watching it as you would have been playing in it.
Bloody right. All righty. It is time for Lion of the Week. And that means I'm spinning the roulette wheel because our previous picks, though. Oh, no, I'm going to touch on it. Sterling. Palmer. Hello, Caicedo and
Yeah.
Jackson.
Do you know what? I've
I-
really got to be careful with who I keep picking because I picked Caicedo and he did that. And I think the game before
Yeah.
I picked someone who made some stupid error as well. So I think I should stop picking people.
Ollie's just gloating somewhere right now. He's gloating. Obviously, we've now got a very late 5:30 kickoff on a
Yeah,
Sunday.
I hate that.
Don't know why. Weird. There's a 6 o'clock kickoff
Yeah,
as well.
stupid.
Oh, I don't know. It's against Sheffield United. Who are you choosing?
Well,
though?
I'm not gonna.
Can't be
I'm not
Caicedo.
gonna go boring and be Cole Palmer because that seems like too easy at the minute. And also, he'd probably be shit if I pick him, so I'm not going to pick him on purpose. Let's pick someone so I can't curse them. Let's pick someone who I don't think is going to play.
Oh,
Do you know what?
well, the roulette.
Actually,
Go on. The roulette wheel has just said Raheem Sterling for me, so there he is.
well, that's not a bad show. I'm going to go with Carney Chukwuemeka.
Oh, it was nice to see him on the
I
bench
think-
and actually
Yeah.
obviously turn up. I thought he was still
I
injured.
wouldn't be shocked if he started actually, because I think there is, with the turnaround being so close between the United game and the Sheffield United game, I think there might be the option to change the midfield up.
Okay. We'll see. I mean, he really brings another level of
Yeah,
excitement.
he
as
was
well when
good. He
plays.
was good
That's-
when he came on as well. He was nearly on my winners list because I thought he does inject something into our attack.
Yeah, for sure. Right. Christmas questions. And we've got a Chris with a K, though, this time, has asked, who is more to blame for the 3-2? After an impressive 22 minutes and 2-0, is it Poch or the players? And then he adds in, should Gallagher be our 6 instead of Caicedo for the rest of the season?
Well, it's the players because
Yeah, as much as I would be moaning of Poch isn't playing.
no, it's the players because the tactics didn't change between minute 20 and minute 45. They was the same as from minute 0 to minute 20 when we were really good. So nothing changed except for the players' mentality and inability to control a game. That's what cost us. That's what changed it 2-0 to a 3-2 and individual morons. I think if Chukwuemeka could stay fit, I would move Gallagher back. And I think he would offer more protection to the back line than Caicedo or Enzo. You can drop either of them. I really couldn't give a shit at this point which one you drop. But yeah, I think he would offer more protection to that back line than either of them two do. And I think that's probably what we need at the minute. And if Chukwuemeka can stay fit, or you could put Mudryk there as a 10, I'd be open to that too. I just think he's got to try something because this is game after game now that midfield clearly isn't working, and you can't just keep doing it and hoping it clicks because it's not going to.
Fair. I'm not going to disagree. I'm not going to disagree with what you've just said. So I'll move. I'll move to Lassie, who's asked, was Poch right in saying we needed a game like this to connect with the fans? There's another 2 questions coming on, but what do you think? First question.
I don't know. I get where he's coming from, but we've had it already. We've had it with Crystal Palace away. We've had it with Man City at home. So it's not like we haven't already had these moments this season. So I kind of get where he's coming from, and I do understand he is right. Building a connection between the players and the fans is important, and this is probably a period in the club's history where the fans have felt more disconnected from the team than any other time. So I get where he's coming from. I always say though, judge it after Sheffield United. If we go to Sheffield United and drop points, it was fucking meaningless. Means nothing. If we really kick on against Sheffield United, put them to the sword, beat them comfortably 4-0, who knows? Maybe it is a turn of the corner. But until you see the follow-up game, I just don't think you know, really.
Yeah, that's fair. The next part of the question, is Madueke getting enough credit for earning us that penalty?
Well, I don't know. I don't know how much credit you want to give him, really.
I mean, he made the attack.
Yeah, it was really good.
He could have easily gone, shall I pass back?
Yeah, oh yeah, that's what I mean. That's what I said when I said about him in my winners. I love that from a winger. He got 1-on-1 and thought, fuck it, I'll just go past him. I'll drive past him and make something happen. So does deserve a lot of credit for that. Was soft though.
Yeah.
The more you look at it.
Oh, I must admit, I was looking. I thought both penalties could have easily just been.
Yeah,
I
think
been.
the first one. I think the first one's a stonewaller because there's not a load of contact, but he only makes contact with the player and not the ball, so it's a foul. He's tackling from the wrong side with the wrong leg.
I had to look. My commentary was John Champion. I love John Champion, and Andy Townsend. Love him as well. But Andy Townsend for the whole VAR review just kept saying they're not going to overturn this. That is literally his only addition to the penalty call was they're not going to overturn this. I mean, I've looked at they're not going to. I'm just like, oh, God's sake, Andy, say something else, please. And the final part of the 3-part question from Lassie was: has the game warped your perception of time as well? Yeah, it has for me.
Yes.
Bloody hell, what the fuck? I still don't know how we went from 2-0 up, yes, to shit, 2-2, fucking hell, 3-2, and then what? 4-3. What? I don't know.
Do you know what though? Do you know what's crazy? Imagine how. So we know how we're feeling having been 3-2 down on 98 minutes to winning 4-3 on 100 minutes.
Yeah.
Fucking imagine being a United fan.
I know. I was in work today and one of the guys there is a United fan and we were just there like, what?
It was fucking
It was
literally 3-2 up on 98 minutes, sipping your cup of tea, thinking, yes, we've won this. And then 2 minutes later, you've lost. You haven't drew.
I know.
You fucking lost. That is horrendous.
And they've got Liverpool this weekend.
I know. It's funny, isn't it?
That is absolutely. I mean, that's the whole. When you say the change, you'd expect now Chelsea buoyant. They're ready. They will. Don't underestimate Sheffield United, because they're fighting for their lives down there. But now Man United have just lost. And they didn't just lose 2 points. They lost all of them. No points at all. And it's a long trip up to Manchester now.
It's difficult to lose a game in 2 minutes.
Yeah, that must be absolutely gut-wrenching. Hey, it's not us. Not us for a change. Look at that, listeners. We're at the end of another episode. That was a big one as well. And there was only 2 of us. Imagine if there was 4. We'd be on to the 3rd hour. Yeah. But hey, thank you as always for listening. Treat yourself well. We will be back on Monday to review that Chelsea game against Sheffield United. So till next time, that is us signing off.
You've been listening to At The Bridge Pod, a Chelsea FC podcast. Follow us on Twitter and Instagram by searching for At The Bridge Pod. And if you're listening on Apple or Spotify, leaving us a review is always appreciated.